Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the God Roll podcast. I am your host, Mack, followed by my co-hosts. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves again.
Josh.
Hi there, and I'm Ian.
Alrighty. So this episode is going to be a little bit better for the listeners because there's not going to be any visual content that you'll have to look at. So today we're going to be talking about Destiny. More specifically, more specifically, Destiny Rising, and then the recent decline, but future of the Destiny as a franchise. Our first topic of this episode, we're just gonna talk about our own current thoughts on Destiny. So Ian, I'll get you to start off. Then Josh, you'll give your thoughts, and then I'll go last.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me, man. See, we're here. It's now October, so Destiny a month ago had its 10-year anniversary. That's absolutely insanity, but it's not really. Like we all remember when Halo had its 10th, and then Halo just recently had its 20th, and then Halo 2 is about to turn 20 coming up in just under a month. So I mean, the game's been around a while, and when you have something that's been around a while, you either have good sentiment or bad sentiment. And the unfortunate meme across the entire gaming industry is that Destiny is dead. Well, it was dead on launch, or it was dead during the first expansion. Well, the three of us here have had our experiences with Destiny. We've stuck through the worst of it because we were able to take breaks, unlike some of the people who just latch onto it as if they can't let go. And we all make the jokes about Destiny being like that toxic ex that you just keep going back to. And it's kind of true. I mean, it's a fun game, but the business behind it right now is just, it doesn't make me feel good to play.
Yeah, Destiny was our first high school girlfriend, pretty much.
Essentially.
Came out 2014. We were all 14 at the time. So, yeah, it was... it's been around for a while. It's been a big part of our lives for a long time.
Ironically, it's how I met you both. So, like, it has the social features that it needed.
Wrong. Well, we didn't meet through Destiny. Just Destiny.
I met you on Halo.
Yeah.
Oh,
liar.
Halo Reach.
I met Ian on Halo 4.
Oh.
No, that was
And then-
Reach. Dude, that was Reach.
No, it was Reach.
That was
No,
with,
'cause
Brad.
You and Brad were playing Halo 4, and then we started playing Halo Reach because, 4 was lackluster. But
There's the memory is all fogged at this point.
I remember Ian helped out with Machinimas a couple times before 4 came out, and it was just Reach.
no, I didn't meet him until like November or December of 2012, which was after Halo 4 released.
I could also be misremembering. My memory's not that great either.
But either way, after Halo 4, I got to 130 in like 3 months and stopped playing the game. So,
yeah,
Dude, do you like for us or for us specifically? We had the blizzard of 2013, and that school was canceled for a week and a half straight. No, 2 weeks straight.
2 weeks.
Halo 4 the entire time.
All right, Josh, you want to go ahead with you? Like, what are your current thoughts on Destiny?
I got on Destiny actually just yesterday. What's today? Monday? 2 days ago. I got on Saturday because I wanted to check out some of the new stuff. I wanted to read up on the lore of some new weapons or whatever the case may be. But I got on to check out the dungeon, and as much as I wanted to actually enjoy the time playing and play the dungeon, I logged off within 5 minutes. There's just no drive. There's no willpower. I have no excitement to play the game anymore, even though my favorite exotic's in the game now. I just don't care to go get it. Like, will I eventually? Yeah, at some point. But this is the first time I haven't attempted the day one of either a raid or a dungeon since, I think, Crota's End. Because ever since Crota's End, I have tried day one, and that's back in Destiny 1 Crota's End.
Oh, okay.
I have tried, not reprised, Destiny 1 Crota's End. No, actually, Destiny Vault of Glass, actually. Because I attempted day one Vault of Glass, day one Crota's End, day one House of Wolves fucking Prison of Elders shit. Day one, literally everything. I've even tried at least, there was, I think, one raid, I think the Deepstone Crypt I wasn't home for. I think I was out of town that weekend. But But other than that, everything else I've attempted the day one for,
Okay.
and
Alright,
this
so
was the
since
first
Deep Stone.
time.
That's
Yeah,
still a
this
long
was the
time.
first time
That's
like I
2020,
haven't done it.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, like 2020, 2019, something like that.
4 years.
So
Man.
And
this is the first time
wild.
I haven't even tried it. Like if I was home that weekend, I would have tried Deep Stone. But this is the first time I got on. Even on Friday I got on and I was like, I don't care, and just got off. So if that
And that's
doesn't say
why.
anything about, how I feel about the game right now, then I'm not happy with it.
And the new dungeon should have like enticed us to try it because it had contest mode for the first time. And
Yep, first dungeon to have it.
contest dungeon, that's awesome. But like a coworker of mine, as a matter of fact, he's just like us. We've all tried day one stuff. We've loved Destiny since day one. But this coworker of mine is a day one raider. He showed me his he showed me the his Destiny tracker. He showed me his what Rolk's raid Vow. He showed me day one Vow. He showed me day one Deepstone, and he showed me day one King's Fall Reprise. And I'm like, okay, that's amazing, man. And I asked him about Vespers, and he goes, dude, I tried it, and I don't have it in me anymore. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I guess it's just getting to everybody because Final Shape was a great expansion. It really was. And I remember you and I, Josh, talking about, look, this is make or break. Like, if this is good, we will get it. And we were like, oh, we're going to listen to reviews first and this and that. And then some of the pre-release material, we're like, okay, this is looking better. And then that second developer insight where they showed off the new enemies, that was it. I'm not pre-ordering, but I'm buying it day one. Because that first Vidoc from was it June? Whenever it was that was showing off that the release date was for February before the 6 month delay. When they showed that, it was just like, okay, miniature or ultra enemies that look like Rolk, like great champions 2.0. Like you're gonna have to show me more before, like, oh, a healing auto rifle. We have healing grenades.
Cool.
Like that, I was not happy. But then that second developer insight, I was like, okay.
That's where they showed Prismatic as well, which kind of had me even more interested.
Exactly. That was such a just shot out of nowhere. I'm just okay. Like that's what we've needed more of, and unfortunately, it's Lightfall just wasn't it. Like I remember your sentiment about Lightfall, Josh Meat, was just like you just didn't care, and I had it one of the expansions of all time. Strand was cool, but really weird story.
Yes.
Really underwhelming.
So my thoughts are going to be a bit different than your guys's because I haven't.
Yeah, because you haven't played a whole lot since when?
I haven't played the newest expansion at all. I haven't even bought it.
What was the last expansion you played?
I played Lightfall. I just didn't play Final Shape. Actually, Witch Queen and I bought every single Destiny expansion that has ever come out. I have bought, whether it's day one or the first week it came out. As soon as I had the money to do it, and I've always had a job as long as I've been playing Destiny. So, well, actually, when I turned 15, I had a job. So a year after I started playing Destiny, I was able to.
The moment you started playing Destiny, your dad was like, "You get a job.
Yeah.
You need to pay for Destiny."
Well, before then, I would just bug my parents to buy me the expansions, like Dark Below and all that. So I always bought every single expansion. Witch Queen was the first one that I had gifted to me, so that was just a gift. I refused to buy Lightfall because I saw the reviews and everything before it even came out, and I was like, I ain't buying that. But then my friend Curtis, who was playing a lot, and the Crucible apparently was better or something. I don't know. That could be completely false. At least to him, he was having more fun with it. So he bought it for me.
Crucible hasn't been fun in a long time.
So he just bought me the standard edition. I played the campaign and everything, and hated it. I liked Strand as a subclass. I thought that was fun. But the two new Guardians at home, like Mom, can we have Guardians? No, we have Guardians at home, and you just get these two beefy men who are sparkly or shiny.
Robot men, cyborgs.
It seems like someone's fan fiction that got snuck into a DLC because they needed something, No armor is quite a thing to do. Like, oh, their armor is their skin because they're metal or something. Okay.
Yeah, the
That was kind of dumb. Moving on
Cloud
to
Striders, that's what they're called. I almost forgot they were
so
called Cloud Striders.
so
They
yeah,
weren't really fleshed out a whole lot. I didn't care for him. Nimbus especially, his character was not funny. Rohan wasn't alive long enough for me to care.
yeah. So not only was I not impressed story wise, which is the only reason why I play Destiny's for the lore, really. Like I don't play raids day one. I don't do Crucible stuff. Like I don't try to go flawless anymore. I play just to have fun. I play to get gear, to look cool. I play for the fashion, and I play for the story. That's what I play for. I don't grind it like I used to, you know? So when the story is starting to like waver now and getting a little weird, like the witness to me already seemed kind of iffy, and I was kind of warming up to the idea of it as an enemy. Like just the design of the witness, like not the concept itself, but just the design. It seemed very un-Destiny to me, and I started to feel like Destiny was going in this weird direction that just didn't excite me anymore. And then when their fucking developers come out, or higher ups, I should say, come out and they're just huge assholes and start laying off their entire staff because they want to still afford cars, and then brag about it to the remaining staff, who then get fired later on to be able to tell the story. So I just didn't even buy Final Shape. I didn't want anybody to buy me Final Shape. I boycotted it. Nothing about Final Shape could bring me back. Prismatic? That's dumb. I'm sorry, I don't care how cool it is. Like, maybe a hot take here, but Prismatic is stupid. It is the laziest piece of shit. Like everybody wanted a third Darkness subclass, and you just give us, all subclasses at once.
I hear you on that.
It's like, give us both then. Don't jip us out of, like, it just bothers me so much. We get 3 light subclasses, we get 2 darkness subclasses, and then the third darkness subclass is just all the subclasses together. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think that's...
But we're bridging the gap between light and dark. We're harnessing both.
You can do that by giving us a third subclass and then having us have another one, Prismatic. Like, give us Prismatic as, like DLC, give us a third Darkness subclass. Give us Prismatic in one of the episodes, or whatever they're called now. Whatever the new expansions are.
That's the second thing. The seasonal content being episodes and just like, I'm not the kind of guy who has the time to play the entire season on its own. So the drip feeding, it's okay and it's not okay, because on one hand, you're not allowing me to do all the content one day when then I get bored. Thanks. But on another hand, it's like, okay, I'm done with this content 2 weeks. Like say if you have a 5-week period and I get all the stuff done in 3 weeks. Now I'm just waiting 2 weeks. Like, where's that balance? So,
well, that's the thing. There's not going to be one. They have to.
There's never going to be a balance.
And to me, the lesser of two evils is drop it all at once and let them play at their own pace.
I agree.
I agree,
because it's not healthy to be like yes, you want people to be playing as much as possible, but you will have an update eventually. You can give people other avenues of progression that'll keep them there longer if they're hardcore, but don't hold the story content back and drip feed that. You know, if you're going to drip feed content for the hardcore players to keep them around every week, then make that like high-end activity shit. Like, not activities, but like gear. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking of the drip feeding
don't
content.
lock content. Like whole, like the content people play the season for, don't lock that behind every week. Just let them play it at their own pace. And because not only does it ruin the story, but it ruins your player experience. I always had fun waiting until the end of the season and then coming and playing all the story at once, so I didn't have to wait. And then I felt like I was actually doing something. Because especially with ADHD, if you give me a week between each content, I could find another game I'm interested in, and you'll never see me for months.
Yep.
But
I
if
never
you
thought
let
of
me
it like
play
that.
it, yeah, if you let me play it all at once, I will play the shit out of all of it. I will play it all. I'll do all of the side content, all of the extra content. I'll progress as far as I can until I'm burnt out, and then I'll move on to a different game. But you at least got another 50 hours out of me before I left. You know?
Now, you just mentioned right there holding off on the story till, or holding off on the season till the very end. Josh, wasn't it you and me that both went through Season of the Wish right before Final Shape? Wasn't it you
Yep.
and I that went through? Yeah, because we went
We
through it,
waited.
and then we were gonna play it originally, but then the delay happened, so we're like, oh crap, we have 6 more months to play this season, so we used that as our, or yeah, we used that as our season time. And,
Yep.
excuse me. It actually felt pretty good to hold that off until the very end, but then after a couple weeks,
We
Crow goes through the portal, then he's traveling for 6 months.
we finished all of that in less than a week. The whole season of The Wish, mind you. All of it. Like, I think that's my biggest or issue with the seasonal content model is none of it is worth the wait. Like, you do a task and you do like 2 or 3 missions that maybe take you 30 minutes total, and then you wait 7 days to do the same thing every single week. It's not meaningful. Like, there's no meaningful reason to do 30 increment after every 7 days of playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, just
Oh,
drop the
what
whole
did
content in an entirety and let me play for a handful of hours like I'm playing a campaign, like a new game just dropped. Say the new Gears of War 6 just dropped. I'm going to dedicate 8 hours and play through the whole campaign. And if I
Yeah.
beat it in those 8 hours, awesome. If I don't, I keep playing till I beat it. Like, I think when Gears 4 dropped, I sat down for about 6, 7 hours and just played the whole campaign. Didn't really like it that much, but I played through all of it.
Gears,
Whereas, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Gears 5 was fun to play through in one sitting. Like the
I
open
played
world
the
sections
first
were a
mission.
slog, but Gears 5 was a lot better than Gears 4 for me.
I played the first mission and never touched it again.
That's fair.
Like, I don't know what it is, but Gears 4, Gears 5, and Gears of War Judgment, don't care.
Oh, Judgment, yeah, the Judgment's its own thing.
Judgment was awful. Gears 4 was meh. The multiplayer was at least decent. The Horde mode was okay. I played a lot of the Horde mode in Gears 4.
Gears 5,
Gears 5
multiplayer
dropped. I played one round of multiplayer, didn't really like the feel of it. I played one campaign mission, and that was it. I didn't even touch the Horde mode because I was like, 3 of the modes that I enjoy playing are already bad. I'm not playing this.
Yeah, the multiplayer for Gears 5 was sweaty as shit. You know that stupid
Yeah, it was
tech
awful.
where you see people just like switching from cover to cover to cover to cover, and they're
Oh,
barely
wall
even-
bouncing and shit?
Yeah, wall bouncing. That's all. Like from day one, that's all you got.
Yeah.
But I
It
enjoyed
just-
the story
It wasn't
for
fun.
what it was.
You got me laughing a minute ago because when you mentioned the season cycle, like, oh, do this 30-minute mission, go back to the helm, go to the radio.
Oh my god.
Why don't we have an email system? Can't we just email like Ikora or somebody? And
We have
I'm straight.
intergalactic space comms. Just tell me through my helmet right now what's going on.
Yeah.
Have
Like,
my
and
ghost to be a little
I'm-
radio. Stop telling me to go to the fucking helm.
I
guys
straight up
are
just stole that
fucking
from Destiny, the meme. I can't remember what tweet that was that he made that joke, but it was like one of the cycle meme, and then the
She-
caption was,
Destiny of the meme is a she.
Yep.
"Oh, for real?
Yes.
Yep.
And she.
That's startling. That's startling to me because I'm trying to find it on her Twitter, and I'm just like, I can't find it, but I know the one that they did was
She's
it's
got
the
bro.
cycle.
She's got bro energy. That's why.
She does.
Remember, she's married to Xbox. Did you forget about that?
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. This is news to me. Well,
I've been following her for a long time. That's why.
But yes,
but
I
yes,
hate the whole
where's
cycle.
where's
of
the
that.
emails? Why can't we send emails? Why can't I send a text saying, "Hey, I'm done. Just call me," instead of having me come to the radio?
Yeah.
Yo, bro.
After playing.
Aldrin just insta messaged me saying that a raid just opened up down the street. Y'all trying to go? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
right.
After playing Warframe, it gave me a new perspective. After playing Warframe again, I should say, it gave me a new perspective on all the stuff Destiny could do better. Like, for example, for story, why are we still just getting disembodied voices and subtitles for like during missions? Like, why can't we get a face cam for characters? You know, like a simple face cam so that we could see who's talking would go so. It would go so long to feel more connected to the characters in the mission and actually feel like the story's affecting you, especially when you could switch that up and have fire in the background of the video, or have
Or
like other stuff going
our
on.
character. What
Listen
about
to
our
this.
character's voice?
Not only that, I agree with Mac, and there's a simple way to do it. Your ghost can project holograms. No?
Yeah.
Project a video call when you're having a transmission come through of the individual talking. It's like how ODSTs, for example, or Spartans will have a little blip pop up, and it's like, this person's talking to you. It's like the same kind of thing. You have a heads up display.
Yeah.
Use your heads up display.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's so many missed opportunities of just simple features that would just make the game so much more immersive, or like connect so much better to characters.
Let us wiggle our ship while we're in loading screens. You know how far that would go to make waiting in a loading screen feel better, is if you could like fly it and wiggle it around like in Warframe.
Everyone talks about Warframe. Oh, the crafting. Oh, the story. Oh, the characters. No, it's the ships going just up and down, up and down, left and right.
I was gonna say the listeners don't know what you're doing right now.
No, just up, down, left, right, left. That is the end game of Warframe.
Yeah.
Every single time I get into a loading screen, I go AWDS, AWDS. I just go.
You make
like
that big.
Yeah.
You make that big
Yeah.
circle. That's the best one to do.
Big circle.
You know what you do, and then as you go down, you got to open up the airfoils by pressing on the your mouse button.
Yep.
And it like spreads the wings open.
And sometimes I'll just go up, down airfoils, up, down airfoils.
Yeah.
But it's immersive. It makes me
immersive.
focused. I'm still on the game, rather than waiting in orbit doing nothing for a fucking Iron Banner match, and you're just sitting here like scrolling on fucking Twitter on your phone and some shit, beating your meat, dude. Like, it's just, I hate it. There's so much wasted time in Destiny.
Or when you're installing the game and it shows you all the cool, like the slideshow of the concept art. Like, I would like to kind of see that. But this is more like tertiary stuff. Like, what are some of the things that we just want for the game to make it better? Like,
I can
obviously,
tell you, like basically just based off of what Warframe does already, give us all the content from day one, even if it sucks. Don't update it. Let people play through the shitty content so they can see how good the game gets. No one's gonna know how good the game currently is if they can't compare it to what it used to be. Think of all the shitty starter missions you can do in Warframe, like all the beginning Warframe missions, like the Limbo mission. And then you play War Within and fucking New War and Sacrifice, and you're just like, your mind continually keeps getting blown and blown and blown because you're like, how do they keep doing this? And even if
and then you play your Rally's mission and kill yourself, and then you go back to the good shit.
Yeah, that's when you just go to your clan, you buy all over blueprints, and then you just go on a little mining trip on Orb Valis for a bit.
Yep, I absolutely hated the Ureli quest. I hated it.
Yeah. But other things Warframe does that Destiny could do, you give us a fucking what's it called? Player home. I know we already mentioned this
social
earlier.
Space.
Yeah,
like a customizable social space.
Exactly. Like that would go. Let us decorate stuff. Let us see the inside of our ship. Maybe even if it's just a small interior, it would be so cool to just see what the inside of our fucking landing or our jump ships look like.
The helm could be a really good opportunity for that, but I understand the helm was implemented as like the seasonal hub, and that's fine. But it's already a solo. Like only 3 people max can be in it. It's already nearly a solo thing. So let us have a little bit of make it feel more like home. But have either of you? Obviously, I can already answer this, Mac. I know you haven't played the new season, but Josh, have you played the new season?
Not much.
He just said he just got on and then got off immediately.
So do you care for a minor spoiler?
Nope.
The helm got crashed. It fucking crashed.
Oh. Well, yeah, I saw that. That was the opening cutscene.
So all these ideas that we could have for the helm being customizable and personal, nope, gone.
That's fine. The helm is it's whatever.
But
I didn't like the helm.
But it's now the new hub crashed in the tower. Like they took it into the tower, which that's kind of cool. It puts everything into one, so I don't have to do a loading screen to the tower and then.
So instead of just opening up the tower more or giving us the old tower or whatever, they're just
it's in the tower core.
Let's put the debris in the tower and then we'll use it and it'll look like when they have the rusted cars in the backyard and the kids play in it, it'll be just like that.
Well, it's they said they took wreckage from they took
They
some
took the
wreckage
only usable wreckage from it
and they
and
put
just
it in
added it as an expansion to the tower.
but it's in the courtyard. So
Yeah.
during the Beyond Light event before Beyond Light launched, the tower courtyard. So that's kind of cool. The last time we were there was what was the spring event several years ago? What was that called?
Guardian Games?
No, it was before Guardian Games.
A spring event before Guardian Games?
Yeah, I'm googling it.
Solstice?
No, Solstice is the fall event or like the end of the year.
Revelry.
Oh,
Oh,
Revelry.
Revelry.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, shows how good that shit was.
It only happened
Yeah,
once,
it's forgettable.
Or and it was just like
I think it's happened
One time, two times
yeah,
maybe.
I think maybe two, but
No.
even then it was
I don't remember one.
just forgettable.
No, it's
I remember. I only
It's
remember
just
because I wasn't playing when it happened. So I was like, "Oh, how do you get these cool ornaments?" For Revelry.
I
Go on.
literally got on,
Okay.
played for a week during Revelry, and then got off because I was like, this thing sucks.
A lot of the events suck.
The only one that I used to like was the Halloween events and
Honestly,
the Dawning. The Dawning
yeah,
used to
getting
be
the
fun.
masks, Getting the mask was fun.
Yeah.
Especially
you mean the
back
The
then.
festival
Dawning
of the
and-
cost?
Festival of the Lost.
That's if you bought.
cost.
That's if you bought shit.
Most
I
of
didn't
the
ha-
fun stuff was in
Yeah,
boxes
but
and-
like,
Well, most of the fun stuff you could also still get for Bright Dust.
that is true.
Which is what I did.
The horror themed weapons, those were a lot of cool. Those were really fun.
or you could wait
Yeah.
till the next year and you can whatever was there last year.
You
Yes.
could buy.
Yeah.
From Destinypedia right here, Revelry list of appearances, season of the Drifter, first appearance,
Yeah.
only time.
First appearance, second appearance,
yeah.
none.
That was like, was that the first or the second season
That
ever?
that
Season
was
of the Drifter was the.
It was the
I think
first
it
or
might have been the
second.
first season.
no.
because-
So there's a technicality.
It introduced it introduced
Bungie-
Gambit Prime or something like that.
Yes, but Bungie has called everything leading up to now seasons. So Red War was season 1.
Oh, they went backtrack.
Curse of Osiris was season 2. Season
No.
3 was Warmind.
No, we don't. We're pulling a
so
we're
Drifter
pulling a
would have
Star
been, like,
Wars here.
8.
We don't follow that.
5. I think Drifter would have been season 5.
No, okay.
5 was it?
The seasonal model started with Season of the Drifter. So how about we just call that season 1?
Well,
Yeah,
the first season was
Or are you talking about
season
like
of-
collections, like in game by collections when you search by seasons? Is that the season
th-
number
th-
that shows up?
So right here on Destinypedia, our first technical season of the seasonal model was Season of the Undying, and that was before Drifter. But right here it says this is season 8. So this was the 8th content drop after the launch of Destiny 2.
Oh, so they were pretty much just going by content drops. So Bungie's calling any content drop before they created the seasonal model in sequential order. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, up until they actually started the seasonal model, which came in Forsaken? Pretty sure.
Something like that. I feel
Season
like
of the
it was
Drifter was after Forsaken, but Season of the Undying is after Shadowkeep.
I feel like Season of the Dawn. I feel like Season of the Dawn was like the start
what-
of how we understood it.
I'm pretty sure, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Forsaken was the expansion that dropped the seasonal model.
Yeah, it was Forsaken, and then Drifter came out right afterwards because they released Gambit with Forsaken, and then Gambit Prime was introduced with Season of the Drifter.
Yeah. Yeah, year 2 of Destiny 2, with the expansion.
Where's Evan F when
What
you
is
need him?
this?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right?
Yo, Evan,
yeah,
be a
year
guest.
2
If
Forsaken.
if you're watching this, contact
Hit,
us.
hit us up. Our DMs are open.
Yeah, we'll plan a cool episode for you. It won't be stupid, boring stuff. Not like this episode.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
just-
yeah. So you're correct. The seasonal model started with season 4, Season of the Outlaw, and then the seasons with the passes as we know it started at Undying.
Yeah, because Shadowkeep came after Forsaken, but was before Beyond Light. It was their first edition of like their smaller shit that they were doing with their seasonal model and smaller expansions, because that was their first expansion after the separation from Sony. So Shadowkeep was much smaller than Forsaken was. And in-house they claimed that Forsaken was an over delivery with quotes.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny that you mentioned
Yeah.
that because during Shadowkeep they had a quote. I don't want to do a direct quote, but I'll ad lib. Someone somewhere said that they over delivered with Forsaken, so they have to release crappy
Mediocre
content.
content.
Yeah, mediocre content to not raise the bar so high.
You see why
And I
I
think
hate
that's
Bungie,
bogus.
guys? You see why I don't want to give them my money?
Look,
This is why I'm
if
not
it's-
buying
Even
anything.
if it's new people, man, like there are whole
It's-
departments that are like being staffed by like a single person right now.
yeah, I saw on Twitter one
the
day
big
that
problem. I was just gonna say the big problem that they have right now is the douchebag in charge is still in charge.
I
Like
don't know
it does. I don't think it really matters who's underneath him because the big wig calling the shots is still fucking it all up.
Yeah, like how
So
does
no
he have
matter,
so
like-
much sway? Like why hasn't Sony
Yeah.
gotten rid of him yet? Or
okay,
Well,
so
I think
the Pete
benched
Parsons
him.
wiki doesn't have the graffiti like I have a screenshot of somewhere, so someone had to undo the graffiti.
That's
Unfortunately,
unfortunate. Because yeah, I think Final Shape was like the kind of big last straw for him, and I don't know if it's been confirmed or if it was just speculation. But there was talks apparently internally. This is take it with a grain of salt. There were apparently internal talks about replacing the CEO with and leadership, all of leadership, including the CEO, with Sony executives because they bought out Bungie. And if they couldn't deliver with Final Shape, they were like, okay, well, we are investing all this money in you and you're not returning. So we're going to replace you with our people who will do what we want them to.
yeah, there was
So-
there was a technicality in the clause that said if market
If you don't
value
meet
did not
margins.
if they didn't meet the market value margins that they could do essentially a hostile takeover.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
at this point, it's a willing takeover because they accepted the purchase.
I don't even know if I would be opposed to that or not.
At this point, honestly,
as long
fucking
as
do
it meant executives, you know, like higher
Yes,
ranks.
everybody in leadership is getting shit canned, and execs from Sony are going in.
And honestly, no offense to whoever the creative director is right now, or whatever, whoever's leading the boat after Joe Blackburn left, but like nobody there is left who people have attachment to. You know, we need fresh faces for people to be attached to who aren't part of the old guard. I'll say, I guess.
Yeah. We need people that are new. I'm not gonna shut down any of like the actual developers, like the animators, the concept artists, the 3D modelers. Or
No, these are the people that
texturing
work in the
artists.
trenches. Like these are the people.
These are the people
who,
getting shafted.
Yeah, I'm
But
talking about
everybody
the faces of
in
the company.
leadership, yeah, all of the faces, everybody in leadership positions, in my opinion, at this point in time, where Destiny has been flop after flop after flop after flop after flop, they're flopping even harder than 343 did with their first 3 releases. Like, that should be saying something. And this is supposed to be your baby, and you're not taking care of it. So
I wonder if
I think everybody should be shit canned and wiped out.
I wonder how much better Halo Infinite is doing than Destiny right now. Like, not just numbers wise, but maybe even monetarily.
So
I'd imagine a lot more people are
With-
still
with
buying
the whole
Halo
new studio
cosmetics
thing-
than they are buying Destiny cosmetics right now.
with the whole new
So, I
studio
know-
thing, we can only assume it's either a good or a bad. Like a new studio doesn't inherently mean a bad thing, but
Yeah.
a new studio gives a new because we have friends in our friend group who immediately when they hear that number of 343, they go on these crazy rants about why they are so bad. But you tell them Bungie used to work on Halo, it's nothing but praise. So it's
So there's
that's
a
a
lot
whole
of
can of worms on its own that's dedicated for its own episode, I tell you that.
Yeah, I won't go too deep into it, but I know because the whole rebranding with Halo Studios was because of an almost entire clean wipe with a lot of all of its leadership. Actually, there's a whole new set of leadership in charge of 343 or Halo Studios now, and they've made probably as much changes as they really can to Halo Infinite. I know that obviously things like microtransactions they can't unfortunately change because if they do, it'll cause an uproar where people who have already purchased these things are either going to want refunds or some other compensation. So like the Halo Infinite's too far gone in the microtransaction aspect.
Yeah.
But they have added an alternate way with the Spartan points to obtain things in game through the Spartan store or the point shop or whatever the hell it's called. I forget. That's on a monthly cycle, I believe. It's
Something like
supposed to
that.
rotate out everything in the shop on a monthly basis, and you play the game to get the points, kind of like Halo 5, and then you spend the points in the shop to get things in game without spending a single dime out of your pocket.
Yeah.
And that was something that the new leadership established in Halo Infinite, as well as putting in permanent playlists and permanent things for people to play in the game. Whereas Halo Infinite launched with 4 game modes, one of which was a bot only game mode. So technically, they only had 3 game modes, and it was arena, big team battle, and competitive. And they were playlists. They were not just, oh, I just only want to play Slayer. No, you have to go play the whole ass arena playlist. So you're gonna get Capture the Flag. You're gonna get fucking King of the Hill. You're gonna get everything else that you don't want to.
Total Control and
Total Control, the game mode that nobody enjoys. Like Bungie and 343 really fucked up. And
Big
then
time.
we have Halo Studio, gets a new leadership, has actually been making improvements. Bungie, maybe get new leadership, make some actual improvements. It's probably a better thing than it is not. You know,
the creative director is Tyson Green, and I think he was one of the spearheads for the Taken King, and we all know how much that helped Destiny at that crucial time.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Though? One of the spearheads, you know, like.
So in the reveal,
he was the one in charge.
In the reveal of so when they did the community streams for revealing Taken King, there was Deej, fantastic community manager, Tyson and Mark Noseworthy. Mark Noseworthy.
So what's his title?
I believe he was creative director.
Right now, Tyson is current creative director after Blackburn.
I mean, like at the time of Taken King. Sorry, that's what I meant.
I think he was still a creative director then too.
I can look into that.
Of the whole game, creative director of Destiny.
Creative director of that. So he wasn't the creative directors are in
lead.
charge of the expansions.
So
he was not necessarily. They don't call them project leads. They just call them creative directors. So like he was the creative director of that expansion. There's still a creative director for all of Destiny who kind of gets the say, but the creative director for the expansions aren't always the same ones. But it's pretty much taking all creative liberties in the expansion, and then the actual like executive for creative directing for the whole game gets the yes or no green light, or gives the yes or no green light.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, while we're still, discussing what we, our current thoughts on Destiny, just so I can get my last little bit out there. So since I'm at the point where I'm not really going to be purchasing any more Destiny products, like I'm not paying for any more expansions, I'm not buying any more seasons, I'm pretty much just waiting until a new game. And speaking of new games, guys, today we got quite a big reveal. It is the 14th of October, and we got the reveal of the new mobile game, Destiny Rising. So I still don't know if I'm excited or not for this. It looks promising, but I'm not really a mobile gamer, so that's just where my reservations come from, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll just go into the first the first bit of knowledge we have about it so far. It's a first and third person shooter RPG made in the same vein as Destiny 2. So strikes, missions, 6-player activities. They didn't say raids, but I assume that means raids in some
and more.
Similar.
They have some interest. They said they have some other things brewing up as well.
Other activities.
Yeah, but like if they say that, I'm not. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's not exciting to me. Just tell me what you do have, and if you have something, and then maybe something else. I don't care to hear about maybe something else. Show it to me when it's ready. There's not a lot to draw me in. The fact that it's a new game is all they need to draw me in. They don't need to.
Just show me what's current, what's up.
Yeah, show me what you're confident about.
So some of the 6-man activities, mind you, they did state actually are strikes. Strikes are going to be 6-man activities,
Oh shit, that's
which
cool.
is interesting.
No,
Different twist
I
than the
like
3.
that. I actually
Yep.
really like
Yeah.
that because that
Right
almost
here.
makes me think like they may have like it's like a strike, and then at the end they have like a raid mechanic for the boss type deal.
Or like one of the seasonal, like from Destiny 2, one of the seasonal arenas or something. Right here it says choose from a wide array of game modes such as campaign missions and 6-player co-op strikes that are iconic to the Destiny franchise, along with all new and replayable PvE and PvP modes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so this game is going to be developed by NetEase, a very popular Chinese mobile developer. I mean, it's the first time I've ever heard of them, but like I said, I'm not Chinese, nor do I play mobile games.
So, fun fact, NetEase was actually the big company after Sony split with Bungie that put a couple 100 million, or I think a few billion, into them and like bought shares of Bungie or whatever. This
Okay.
was shortly after the separation, and since then, I believe NetEase began working on their mobile game, which is now being released or now being teased at least.
So, yeah, so other things that we know about it. Can't really tell if it's just mobile graphics or if it's a new art style, but it does look like some characters are getting a little bit more personality. And
It
it's
definitely
not...
has.
Can I finish, please, Mr. Ian?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just excited about this one.
So it doesn't seem to be any custom characters. It seems like they're going to be taking either a Warframe or hero shooter route and having pre-made characters with their own abilities, special abilities, because this is in an alternate timeline. Before the last city created the Vanguard, and there's no classes, so they can get a little funky, fresh with the setting. But I'm going to maybe say something a little controversial. I don't know if I like the alternate setting, and I feel like the only reason they're doing it is because it's created by a Chinese developer and they want to have an excuse to make characters not gay.
I mean, I
know it may
wouldn't
be
say
really
that
wild to say.
necessarily.
It's just the first thing I think of when I hear Chinese developer and alternate timeline with changing up the story and stuff. Like, I like the idea of them change. Like, I would like personally, they could have just gave us a game set in the Dark Ages, and it wouldn't have affected regular Destiny at all. But
I mean,
I'm still excited. Yeah. That's just my personal hot take on maybe why. We'll see when the game releases. If there's no mention of gay people anywhere, you'll be like, well, that's why, because they can't sell it in China if there's mentions of gay people. But then,
I mean, well, I don't think that's necessarily true because aren't there gay people in Genshin Impact, which is a Chinese game?
I mean, it could also just be a localization thing as well. But it's just when it's a, like I said, that's just my fucking.
It's definitely a shot, but we don't know if it's a shot in the dark.
I was gonna say I definitely feel like it's a shot in the dark because there's been no mention or anything relating to any sort of like ideology.
The reason why I think that is I'm just thinking like, well, how much of the current lore are they bringing over? You know, like if we're getting Marasov, are we gonna get regular Marasov, or is it gonna be boss queen, big titty, like
so you got to think too.
This takes place version of Marasov and not what she actually is. You know,
during this time frame, even if it stayed relevant. So Awoken don't live for as long as Guardians because Guardians obviously don't age anymore. You know, so like Guardians can go hundreds of thousands of years, where Awoken are just altered humans from living so close on the verge of the dark and the lightness over in the reef.
Well, it is implied that all reef-born Awoken have lived thousands of years.
I don't think it's ever been explicitly stated, though, have they?
Well, yes, because they have been around the formation of Guardians from Dark Ages all the way up till now, and they only recently like got into like relations with Guardians, but they've known of Guardians for a long time.
But that could also be through generations, not
Marasov
through...
herself is like thousands of years old. Because remember, Marasov and Uldren are from the Golden Age. They are Golden Age survivors who returned Awoken. And all original Awoken were.
And I think that's less of every single variant of an Awoken versus the Awoken that have those special abilities.
That's why I said the Reef Awoken.
Yeah, because like I don't think every single Awoken is the same. Whereas the Reef Awoken that actually have, I don't know what the special, I guess, magic would be called, because obviously you see Marasov and her Wiccans or whatever they were called doing their reef magic, but we don't really
Techians,
know
yeah.
what that is. Yeah, Techians. We don't really know what that reef magic is. I don't think it's ever been given a name other than Techian magic.
I think it's implied it's like a mix of light and darkness. They harness both the light and the dark.
I mean, I kind of guess. I
So
guess that kind of
it's
makes
like
sense.
it's like a kind of like it's like their own special flavor.
Yeah. But I think it's only those Awoken specifically, and even though they kind of share the same time frame with like Golden Age Guardians, the Reef-bound Awoken, even like I believe in Destiny 1, when
just to be clear,
you
there's
talk
no Golden
with
Age Guardians, but I know
well,
what you mean.
Golden Age Lightbearers.
No, when I say Golden Age, I mean like pre-collapse.
Oh, you're talking like before the Dark Age?
Yeah, like while like
During the Golden Age, there was no ghosts. The
I
Traveler
thought,
was
well,
still
yeah,
alive.
no, because that came after the Dark Ages, because it was the Golden Age of technology.
No.
and
Dark
life,
Age
and
came
then
after
the Dark
Golden
Age.
Dark Age.
That's what I'm saying.
Dark
That's
Age
what I'm
is
saying.
when Lightbearers were born. Golden Age was right before that, before the collapse.
Mac, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, well,
I said Golden Age, and then Dark Ages,
Oh.
and then the Traveler, and then Birth the Guardians, or Birth of the Lightbearers, and then the Lightbearers evolve over centuries and turn into the Guardians.
Yeah. Anyway, my point
because
was
of,
just
like,
that
the Vanguard
Mara
and stuff.
and Uldren are from Golden Age. They were, what's it called? They were on a colony ship, escaping Earth as the collapse was happening. So they
Okay,
are
so they were
literally-
human at that point.
Yeah, but they are literally thousands, if not like thousands of years old, or hundreds of years
So
old.
they were human by that point. But I mean, even then, like I was saying, back in Destiny 1, when you talk to Uldren and the Queen, they kind of allude to being away from humanity. Like they keep themselves separate. In most cases, they will even attack you if you enter their reef without permission.
Yeah,
so it's like
because before they
most
were
of
in
the
the
time
reef,
they're secluded.
Yeah, before they were in the reef, they were in the. You guys might remember the name, the not the Dreaming City, the Observatorium, the Repositorium, something Atorium. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, the Awoken have like their own version of the Throne World, where no one ages and they can live forever. And then they broke away, like a section of them from that place broke away and became the Reefborn Awoken. Yeah. So.
And I think that's the Reefborn Awoken.
The Distributary.
Distributary.
So.
Thank you. That's what it is.
And then, unless you're in the Distributary or you're a Reefborn Awoken, like if you're just kind of out in the galaxy, like say you're just
long
a fucking
lifespan, but still mortal.
Longer lifespan than human, where you live maybe 100 years as a human, but not living for eternity. Whereas you can only be killed, but you can't die of old age.
Yeah, and then obviously Mara is the creator of the Awoken. You know, obviously.
Yeah, that thing's 12.1.
forever.
That thing's 12.1 billion years old.
Yeah.
So Mara is older than dinosaurs.
I think Mara discovered it and then reshaped it for her own needs. I don't believe she is that old, because like I said, she was a regular born human who then turned Awoken after I think finding the depository? Is that what you called it? Depository? Distributary, sorry.
Yeah, she was the first to enter it, and it's 12.1 billion years old. That's wild.
Yeah. All right. So just seeing if I missed anything. So other than that, there'll be for Destiny Rising, there'll be a new rarity called Mystic, along with a new weapon type, which seems to be a crossbow, which seems pretty.
That would be Mythic, actually.
Mystic is what they said.
No, Mythic was the actual label for it. Mystic was a mispronunciation from the guy talking.
Okay, I was just
if you look at
I was writing, so.
Yeah, if you look at the actual icon, whenever it's, or the crossbow, for example, whenever it's talking about it, in the bottom caption it says
and the subtitles,
new rarity Mythic.
Okay,
yeah, the subtitles say
Mythic makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
Which
so new rarity Mythic with a new weapon type crossbow, and November 1st for the closed beta.
Yep.
Which Josh and I have been clamoring for a Mythic rarity type for for at least over a year now.
I think that started back like before Destiny 2 even dropped.
Oh, it was a long time ago, but I have photographic proof of us talking about it a year ago.
From
I haven't
got flamed. I haven't got flamed on it for Twitter. Some guy was like, "Wow, totally original opinion, bro." It's
What's
like,
the color of the rarity?
Don't know yet.
They didn't show yet.
I imagine
They
it'd
did
be
not
like
show
a
yet.
light blue or a red or something.
All right, let's take
So-
bets.
I'm gonna say red because we already have light blue as, and I doubt they're gonna use the same hue again for another rarity.
I meant like a greenish light blue, so like cyan or something. Like
I still feel like it's too close to the rarity.
I'm gonna
rare
go
variant.
out on a limb and say pink.
I feel like it'll be either red.
pink seems too close to legendary though.
Yeah, pink's a little too close to like.
I genuinely do think it's going to be red.
Okay, I'll say orange then.
Either
Oh, we
that
still
or
orange. Is
personally, it could be black. You never know.
Look, on the color wheel, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Because
9,
if
10,
you think
11,
about it,
12.
red's
12
really-
things to work with.
Red's the only primary color left. They got blue. They got yellow.
They got green.
Well, green secondary, but yeah. So we're just missing
Well,
red.
green. Well, whenever you look at it from the factor of like RGB, like,
It's
you've
got to be
red,
anywhere
green,
between orange and
blue,
red.
and then you have your CMYK, which is your cyan, magenta, yellow, and I forget what the K is all the
Look
time.
at us discussing the color wheel.
Cayenne, I think, whatever it's pronounced.
Cyan,
Um,
aquamarine seafoam.
Well, it's so CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and I forget what the K one is.
I have no clue.
Magenta or cyan.
Oh, and key is
Magenta.
black.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
right.
cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which is black.
But that is for like digital printing for printing. Yeah, I was just talking about like just general color theory. Is primary is blue, yellow,
Well,
red.
yeah, I get that part, but I was saying if you look at it, their rarities already have a kind of cyan color,
Oh,
your
I see
green
what you
color,
mean. I see what
your
you mean. Okay.
magenta color, and then your yellow color. I feel like they would eventually either do a red or a black if they follow that kind of same,
Okay.
because like they could do a blue for like a deep blue, but I don't really see them going for another blue color. I feel like they would do red or black.
It's got to be one of those two.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I personally think red, but red's also my
Yeah,
favorite.
I
color,
think
so
red
I'm
is my
biased.
primary. I think red is definitely going to be like the mythic class color, but I threw black in there just to add an additional because I was like, you never know. I mean, they could just throw a curveball like fucking Borderlands with the pearlescence.
Ian
That's
might
true.
be cooking though with the orange color too, because Borderlands also had like their red, quote unquote, was more like an orangish red.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have your golds and then your oranges.
Yeah,
which is weird.
could, if you make it like a sunset orange, so it's very different from the gold.
Well, then
and
there's
yellow.
also red orange, which
All
is
right,
in between orange
Forget
and
the colors of the rarity. What is gonna make Mythic?
red. Y'all were talking about it more than me.
Yeah, what do you guys think like is
I
gonna make
Googled the
Mythic
color wheel.
special compared to exotic?
double traits.
Double exotic traits?
Double
I
traits.
say you'll only be able to use, like, say you can use an exotic weapon and armor. You could probably only use one mythic on top of that, or only one mythic and no exotics. Like there's that kind of we're talking something mythic here. We can either do something stupid ridiculous or stupid balanced. Like
Yeah. I feel like because of the way that they've been trying to kind of play, especially with the final shape, play into the power fantasy a little bit more, I think they're going to go for something stupid ridiculous.
But this is also just a completely different mobile game where your weapons are
It
going to be
is.
based off of characters you play as. So
Which, again,
Well,
leads
that's-
me into thinking
do
it's
we
going
know
to be
that?
something a little bit more
We
ridiculous.
don't necessarily know.
yes, each light
Yep.
bearer has 2 weapon types, one for primary and one for power weapons. Each slot will have an available weapon type which differs by playable character. For example, Wolf
But,
can
like-
equip auto as their primary and a grenade launcher as their power. You have a shared inventory between all characters, and you can share your weapons until you unlock between those capable of wielding the same weapon type.
Okay, so other characters can use the same weapon types.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to unlock the ability for it, essentially, is what it said.
How many characters are there
But-
going to be? Does it say how many starting characters?
see, that's the thing with the
We don't
mobile
know
game.
yet.
That's the thing with the mobile game that scares me. I see 3 people right here, which pre-hunter, pre-titan, pre-warlock. My bad. So being a mobile game, that's probably how they're going to get the cash in, is selling different characters that have different weapons or different. Because in Destiny 1 right now, there's 3 light subclasses with 3 different flavors per each one. So there's like 18, 20 different combinations just for like a Titan. So there's like 18 different Titans that they could sell, which is insanity. Or like, oh, here's a loadout for Wolf, and then here's a different loadout for Wolf.
Well,
So it's just like,
they're not going to do the whole Titan Warlock. That's just going to be a design thing, because like I imagine the whole point of it is so that they can give a Warlock type character a Titan subclass.
which that would be cool. That'd be really cool. Like I would love to be a Titan.
The Warlock that shoulder charged.
That's the prismatic we should have gotten.
That's the prismatic.
Instead of mixing our own subclasses, well, I mean, we kind of had that whenever they started releasing 3.0, but it wasn't a whole lot as far as like the supers and their melees. It was just the grenades. Yeah. It was just a little bit of dabbling, and most of it was just grenades. So like Titans and Hunters got grenades that the Warlocks had, like the solar grenade, for example, and then Hunters and Warlocks got the lightning grenade that the Titans had, etc. But I digress.
But it also says right here that each light bearer gets each light bearer wields a unique relic. For example, Kabir wields the Thunder Shield, granting him a shocking array of arc element attacks capable of binding or blinding, as well as a sturdy shield that can block enemy attacks. So it's like you have a shield relic, or I could have a shoulder charge relic. Like that's just what I'm imagining.
Did you just come up with Kabir off the top of your head, or is that an actual character?
No, for example, Kabir. That is verbatim on the page.
Okay, is there any other? So they don't. So that's what I'm trying to see. There's like I want to know what characters they have, but if they only mention Kabir,
I don't think they've explicitly stated who's playable yet.
That sucks,
or what characters or how many characters are yet.
Because I just see this goth chick with the black and white hair. I see this.
You mean Mommy? Yep.
I see this Hunter.
Would you like me to read off? Would you like me to read off Meet the roster?
Oh, there is an actual list?
That's what I've been asking you this whole time, man.
I
didn't see a list. Yeah, I didn't see a list whenever I was going through.
Okay.
I also didn't go to Bungie.net.
You get away this time.
All right, so I'll read Meet the Roster. This is for Destiny Rising. This unique setting provides an unparalleled opportunity to witness some of Destiny's most legendary lightbearers in their formative days. Not only will you see iconic figures like Ikora Rey, the Iron Lord Yolder, and a youthful Kabir, but you will also have a chance to play as them and other renowned heroes of yore. This is an era before the Guardians were fully defined. The classes of Hunters, Titans, and Warlock had not been solidified. Each character comes with a distinct and unique playstyle, offering a fresh and immersive experience.
I'm sorry, we're getting your characters? Like YOR?
No, heroes of yore, like heroes of yonder or before.
Okay. I was like, are we gonna be able to play as Dredge and that'd be kind of fire.
Okay. No, yeah, I could see how that sounds.
Let me smack some bitches forever in Crucible and just call them dead forever.
Oh, with the upcoming alpha, you will get to play with 11 unique characters. But don't worry, this is just the beginning. Many more characters are on the horizon.
Okay. So, all right. I'm on the same board with Mac. I'm not a mobile gamer. I don't really care that much for mobile games. But this is probably the one mobile game, mind you. I may hit it with BlueStacks or something and play it on the computer. But this is the one mobile game that has actually piqued my interest where I'm like, wow. Not just because it's Destiny, but because it looked fun. I mean, a little bit cartoony in the art style for sure. But it's a universe that I already know. It, in the gameplay, actually looked really good, and you could play in the first or third person. Personally, if I'm playing mobile, I'll probably play third person most of the time. Or if I want to play, like I said, emulated BlueStacks on the computer, I'll probably play it in first person, because then I can hook up a controller and play it. But as far as like a mobile game goes, it has my attention more than the primary. And not just because it's new, but because the things that they were actually able to display and the characters that they were able to show actually looked interesting.
Yeah, for as much as I shat on the idea of it being alternate timeline or an alternate universe, It does kind of excite me what they can do with that, because that means that they can take some of the parts of the lore that I don't necessarily really like in current Destiny and change it up however they want. Like, just the fact that Kabir is alive and we can play as him, and Yolder too, like, that's going to be cool. Even if they aren't the
I'm
same
excited
people.
about Yolder.
Yeah, even if they aren't the exact same people, it's still going to be cool. And if they do go alternate timeline, I hope they go balls to the wall with it, and they actually change
100%.
up stuff a lot, and they don't just like keep the basic story. Because from what we saw so far, is that there's a giant, like, massive tree of life underneath the Traveler, kind of like the Tree of Silver Wings. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's like a massive version of it right underneath the Traveler, and that looks sick. So the Yggdrasil...
It's essentially what the tree was on Io.
Yeah, so the Yggdrasil fucking inspiration is going hard. I like that. It seems creative. They didn't animeify the game style too much either. Like, the goth mommy does kind of look a little more... Not anime, but she does look a little bit out of
Looks a little bit more
place.
cartoony.
Yeah, she looks a little out of place for Destiny, but we can chalk that up to just, it being...
Art style.
Yeah, just Chinese developers
Honestly,
instead of North American.
The art style, in my opinion, have you ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic, like the MMORPG?
Yeah, okay, I know what
The
you're
art
talking
style kind of looks like a combination between Destiny and that.
about. I'd say like a
Because
more...
like you kind of get like that weird like rim lighting shell or cell shading kind of vibe from the new mobile game, but it also has Destiny's like aesthetic tied to it.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a lot less cartoony and a bit more realistic.
Less
not
cartoony,
textures,
but...
not textures wise, but like at least in model wise compared to Old Republic.
Yeah.
But I know what you're
I
talking
am
about.
looking at the cover. And it looks like Destiny. Like some of the armor I'm looking at right here looks like the starting set of Warlock armor, and then this shield right here kind of looks like a Red Legion shield, but it's not Red Legion. So like it's all of this is familiar, but I see a Destiny 1 gun model. My favorite weapon models were from Destiny 1. So whatever is going on here, and I'm violently shaking my hand at my screen, I want this.
Destiny
Whatever's
1,
going on here, I want this.
Destiny 1
And
had
that's a good
certain
point.
charm to it. Like it was
Like,
wasn't
one of the-
it wasn't overcomplicated, it wasn't too busy. It was a nice
But it looked
blend.
good.
It was a nice blend of sci-fi and simplicity with militaristic aspects and also sci-fi fantasy. Like, it had a good blend of everything. Because even the raid armors were sci-fi fantasy, but not over the top. Like they were, like they were literally regular tight pieces of Titan armor and Warlock armor with bits of enemies stuck to them, and not straight up armor that looks like an enemy. You know what I mean? Like, compare the Hive armor of Destiny 2 to the Hive armor of Destiny 1. In Destiny 2, it's balls to the wall. You pretty much look like a Hive Guardian, right? But in Destiny 1, you look like a Titan who's wearing a Hive Guardian.
Shout out to Ghost of the Deep
Destiny
armor.
1. In Destiny 1, it looks like you ripped that bitch's skull out and put it on your fucking head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whereas in Destiny 2, you're just like, I am Acolyte.
Hey, shout out to the Ghost of the Deep armor. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because the armor is getting simultaneously better but worse at the same time for me in Destiny 2.
So there was the 10-year anniversary event that happened in Destiny. Bungie pretty much gave out my heavy air quotes, inspired by year one Destiny 1 armor, and it was supposed to be a rendition of the first screenshots of each character, the Hunter, Warlock, and Titan. It looks nothing like it.
It looks nothing like it.
Where's the fur collar?
And
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't even look good like Destiny 1 armor did. It just looks boring.
It looks like what Destiny 2 thought Destiny 1 looked like. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's like if
draw
you took
Destiny 1
Destiny
armor from
1's
memory.
actual armor, and then you took the meme of, Mom, can I have Destiny 1 armor? No, we have Destiny 1 armor at home, and then gave that shit.
Like, you guys remember how in Halo 4, when they tried to do, or Halo 4 and Halo
ODST.
5, when they tried to do the old school looking armor sets, but on the new with the new art style, it just looked weird. It didn't.
Yep,
look like
Champions
old armor
bundle.
sets. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like to me.
See,
ODST
the Mark
looked super weird. The only
The
thing that
helmet
looked
was-
decent was the helmet for Mark 5, and that was like, it looked decent. It
the
wasn't my
boots
favorite.
were too big. The
The
boots were
boots
too
were
big.
too big. Yeah,
It,
I
it
didn't
looked
like
like
the chest
clown
piece.
feet.
The chest
The
piece
chest
looked
piece.
too small.
The chest had not enough armor covering the breast
Yeah,
area, but the
it was
backpack
like
was good.
it was like if you know how you see in the movies like women go to the beach or something and they take their shirt and like roll it up and then tie it in a knot in front of them. That's what the fucking
Yep.
chest armor looked like.
Yep.
It didn't look real.
And that's what's kind of a breath of fresh air. It looks like this. Hold on, I'm scrolling down to see the name of the company because I forget. NetEase. Yeah, it looks like yes, they were paid $100 million, or they paid Bungie like either somewhere $100 million went for this. Either they gave Bungie 100 mil, or Bungie gave them 100 mil. But whatever's going on here, it looks like this 100 mil is gonna get put to good use because
I see, babe. I was nodding.
it. Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry,
I know
April,
you're. I know you're talking. I know you're talking to your wife. But like, I share the same sentiment. I am not a mobile focus camera. Thank you. I'm not a mobile gamer. I mean, I play Clash of Clans. I've played COD Mobile. Like, I'm the furthest from a mobile gamer.
Mm-hmm.
But if this winds up being something that I can just pick up randomly and be like, let me do a 6-man strike, or hey, let me see what kind of story is going on while I'm like at work, or as Salta Grepo said on Twitter today, POV, me doing world's first Vault of Glass 3.0, but my grandma calls me and crashes my game. It forces us to wipe. Then I have to wipe IRL or something. It was a banger tweet, but that's what really could happen. And I agree with Dado's sentiment. More Destiny is good. And some people don't realize that the mobile gaming market is humongous in Asia. So maybe Pete Parsons is going to get more cars, but if this does monetarily well, then maybe some of those costs will be offset on us here in the States to where we don't have to mortgage ourselves to play Destiny.
And that seems like a pretty good segue into the last couple things we have to discuss here on the itinerary.
Oh, yeah.
So, everybody, what are our hopes for the future of Destiny? Without
Destiny,
don't talk not new games. We'll save any new game related stuff to the end of the game.
Yep.
Hopes for the game currently, like either for Rising or for Destiny 2 itself.
I've got two topics. I have things that I hope for Destiny Rising to make the game, at least fun, because maybe it's a mobile game that I play for once. And two, I have ideas or things that I feel like should be added or removed from Destiny as it is to make it better. So, controversial topic. Either remove PvP and make it a separate entity finally, because if you can't separate the sandboxes, separate the games.
I agree 100%.
Or you need to make a complete dedicated Crucible team to actually make changes, because I think everybody is tired of trying to play Crucible and it always being a shitfest.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to do it is exactly how Warhammer did. Warhammer took the campaign, the ops, and the PvP, and they're all three separate entities. So they can customize and tweak certain weapons in campaign without touching it in ops or PvP. Or, oh, this weapon's really good in ops, but is overpowered in PvP, and tweak it in PvP. So you don't fuck with ops or campaign.
Yeah, and then
Destiny desperately needs that.
Their spaghetti code, I don't think, will allow for that, but that's kind of something they should have thought of when they were, making the game.
And
obviously
that's
back
another
then,
topic.
Activision was also part of it, so
yeah,
you can't necessarily blame the programmers back then for not thinking of the future when they weren't allowed to. But
yeah, but I mean that's another topic. Is it's not possible with the current state of where Destiny is, but I think that Destiny 2, even before Beyond Light, whenever they started doing engine upgrades, they should have changed engines. They should have spent their time dedicating towards changing to a new engine instead of trying to update and fix their shitty spaghetti shit.
Yeah.
Because, unfortunately, they probably spent more money and time wasted just trying to fix their garbage instead of taking the garbage out and replacing it with something new. And I've been saying that about, for example, Halo for the longest time, and they finally made the switch to Unreal Engine. And mind you, I'm going to suck Unreal's dick for a second because Unreal Engine is my favorite shit to play with. As
It's very
somebody
nice.
as somebody who went through school for like game art and make the essence of making a game, one, I absolutely love their scripting system for how you can set up sequence of events and how you set up pretty much anything in that system, whereas you probably have to code absolutely almost every single individual aspect of Destiny right now. But Unreal also allows for, if you don't have uh, a specific sequence already set, you can code one yourself and make the sequence all in house,
Yeah.
as well as all effects can be done in house. All your cinematic renderings can be done in house. Not only can they be done in house, but you can make your in-game cinematics look better than in-game quality, or you can have them one for one and match up super good. And then you obviously have, your external cinematics whenever they take another studio and have the studio go and do the cinematics for them or whatever the case is. But either way, there's so much potential that I feel like Destiny had or could have had, and so many opportunities for change that could have fixed pretty much almost everything that they just wouldn't take because CEO want big car. Like,
CEO don't just want big car. CEO want many
he wants many
car.
cars.
Want many car.
So unfortunately, that's when corporate greed comes in, and that's unfortunately what we have to deal with until he gets removed from the office. I don't think Destiny 2 is going to get better until he's gone. I don't.
Agreed.
Now, it's different for Destiny Rising. That's an entirely different company running that. Bungie is just an associate company. They have the
Licensed by
rights.
Bungie.
They
Yeah,
sold
they're
the
licensing.
license. They allow the usage.
Exactly.
Rented the
They are
license.
allowing that license out to make that game. Now, with that game being made, it is an entirely different company in charge of it. So I have faith that they'll probably do better than Bungie, unfortunately. But NetEase also has a good track record of making pretty good stuff. So it's like, as far as mobile games go, I don't really play them, but if they have a good track record and everything's lining up right, I see no problem in giving it a chance.
Okay.
I can't hold it. Can we please make a compilation at some point of your cats just interrupting both of you? I need that as a
yeah.
compilation.
Yeah,
We're probably
so
gonna
for the
we
listeners
need to
who
post
don't
that
know,
tonight.
Yeah, for the listeners who can't see, me and Josh have been fighting both of our fucking cats to.
They just
jumping
keep
up
jumping
and-
into the frame. I've
Yeah.
got no animals, so I'm looking at this. I'm just like, come on.
Well, I mean,
These guys are so adorable.
as long as they're not bugging the actual audio recording, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll get a cat counter, and we'll just put it like at the top left of the screen every time either Josh's or Mack's cat will say "bing."
No, we're not doing that for the listeners. You know how many? Imagine the jump scare every time we're just talking, and all of a sudden they're just while they're just like on working, just doing something.
No, we should
Scares
just
them.
what we should do is make it the sound of the smoke alarm without the batteries, where it goes beep.
Oh my god!
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just fool everybody.
Well, I guess I'll put in my 2 cents about this. So hit me with the question so I can get a better understanding. 'Cause I
What
kind
are
of forget.
your hopes for Destiny Rising or Destiny 2 specifically?
So some of the hopes I have for Destiny 2, because Rising isn't out yet. We're in that kind of that
That's why I said,
hype
like,
phase.
what are your
Yeah.
hopes?
So I'm going to focus on D2 for majority of this.
Fair.
So I'm going to give an example for the Final Shape. That expansion was very, very good.
What?
Why
Oh,
it was
Final
good?
Shape, sorry.
Yeah.
I
So
was thinking
why
about both
Final
for some reason, I don't know why.
No. So why Final Shape was good was because its patrol zone. I really liked patrolling the Pale Heart. It was a very beautiful zone. I don't like how it was restricted only to solo or up to like a pre-made fire team. I would like to see other Guardians in there, but that's neither here nor there. That doesn't really change my experience. What I did appreciate, though, was the loot chase inside of the Pale Heart. When you unlocked the ability to get the exotic class item for the Final Shape, you could be doing your random patrols, you open a chest, and boom, exotic. And it has completely random rolls for either Warlock, Hunter, or Titan perks. So at the time, I was looking for Star Eaters and Syntheset. And I got one from a random chest because my goal at that point in the Pale Heart was to just open chests. So I did. I opened a chest, boom, I got it. I didn't have to do the exotic mission. I didn't have to do the cheese where you get one extra one. I didn't have to do any of that. I just got super lucky with my patrol destination. But with that being said, I want there to be a better loot chase in Destiny. I want a reason to log in and be like, okay, I'm going to go to Earth, or I'm going to go to just Europa. I want to be able to have an opportunity for any kind of loot out of a chest or any kind of a loot out of an enemy. Yes, I do know there are prime engrams, whatnot, legendaries, what have you. For example, when we did our Pantheon run, and that was amazing, side note, I needed a rocket launcher for damage, and I got a God roll. God roll podcast. I got a God roll from a random guy.
He said the
thing. I said the thing. I didn't get it.
Line.
I didn't get it from a quest. I didn't get it from a nightfall. I didn't get it from end game activity. I got it from just doing random stuff. Now, I appreciate the loot grind for high-end content. Give me something good for high-end content. That is why that content is there. But for the daily remedial stuff that I'm doing 90% of the time, make it worth my while. Give me, like, I miss the Vanguard Mentor missives. Like, when I turn in bounties, give me the opportunity for an exotic quest. Or, like, an exotic bounty quest, and let it just be a random exotic. Or if we want to get super specific, make it a specific exotic.
Actually, you just gave me a great idea. Like you said, give us a random exotic missive that'll give you a short quest. Short but kind of grindy, not too grindy quest that'll allow you to unlock
like an hour quest at most.
Jeez, man, let me finish my thought at least.
Good.
That allows you, the missive, once completed, it'll allow you to unlock one of the exotics out of the kiosk. One of the kiosk exotics that aren't available anymore.
Yeah, ones you can only get with an exotic cipher. Like,
yeah, like give us an exotic cipher in other. I don't know. Just not an exotic cipher, but just like the weapon straight up.
No, the weapons you're talking about from the kiosks. When you buy them, you have to have an exotic cipher. But all of those are from past expansions.
No, but what I'm saying is just like give us the weapon without any other materials or.
Oh yeah, but the loot pool you're talking about, give us the cipher exotics.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't have to be the new season exotic. Doesn't have to be anything new. Give us give us an opportunity to get the stuff from the past.
Or even the Lost Sector exotics. Sorry.
Lost sectors have become very good for farming. Like their chances. Like
I don't care. Don't lock them behind a single repeatable mission that people hate doing anyway, even if they're easy. It's boring. It's boring.
It is, but
a harder version.
I'd rather
than.
I'd rather spend 15 minutes doing because there's some lost sectors I can get down in 2 minutes. There are some that I can do really quickly. So I'd rather do that 4 or 5 times, just for a good chance. But I think the lost sectors are fine. Those can stay the way they are. But for the daily stuff, give me a better opportunity for good loot. Now, there are going to be new tiers of legendaries coming with one of the next update. I think it was the spring update for tier 1, tier 5 legendaries. And that's kind of cool. But make my daily stuff better. And then that coincides with the seasonal content. Shake it up. It's been the same for several years now. Talk to a person, go do a mission, go back to the helm, listen to a radio broadcast, wait a week.
What's the thing? What can they even do to shake it up to make people even interested?
Literally anything different.
No, because that's the thing is they've pretty much tried everything. The way the game is right now, they would pretty much have to change the game at a code level to make anything more interesting than what they already have.
Hear me out. Apparently, they stated that they have ideas and changes slated for the coming season next year, the beginning of next year, I believe it was, which is supposed to change the way that you grind the game. They said it's supposed to change the core mechanics and the way that you play and the way that you grind and get to the final power levels that has not been changed since the beginning of Destiny, essentially. So we don't know what that means because they failed to elaborate on that. But apparently on their roster that they have, at least, they are completely altering the way that you grind the game. I'm not going to believe it until I see it, personally, because I'm not listening to any false promises from Bungie anymore. But if they
Going
can
back to my
deliver on
point,
that, at least they have some sort of idea and concept that they've at least stated that they're working on to change how you grind the game, because that's been a big gripe for the last 10 years where you're constantly doing the same thing. I got to play the same strike this week. I got to do the same raids this week. Like, it gets repetitive and not in a good way. Whereas Warframe, I could do the same mission 100 times, but also because tile sets, it doesn't necessarily feel like the same mission.
Exactly.
Because every single tile set is different and they're randomly procedurally generated. So I could just be like, okay, while I know the mission, like I know I'm doing the tile Rhaegor fucking right, I'm getting to him in a different way than I did the beforehand. So maybe I find something that I didn't see before. You know what I mean?
You were going to say something, Ian?
I was trying to fact check myself before I said it, but I know I mentioned like, when I complete a bounty, give me a chance at like an exotic mentor missive so I can just get something cool. Weren't bounties removed in Final Shape, Josh? And replaced with the Pathfinder?
Yes, I think so.
Well, I know
think
Crucible.
bounties have been removed.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
I can't say for
right here.
100% certainty. But...
5 months ago, Destiny 2 team. In the Final Shape, we're introducing the Pathfinder, blah, 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 blah. While Pathfinder will replace bounties at these vendors, they will remain unchanged at other vendors. But the only vendors that it changed was Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit.
Yep.
The ones that matter.
The big ones.
So maybe give me a chance at a cool little hour quest after completing a Pathfinder or something. I don't know. So obviously with the shakeup that they're planning for the spring update, which were those supposed to be paid or so two half expansions at the beginning of the year, one at the beginning, one at the latter half of the year. The first one brings the dungeon. I think the first one brings the raid. The second one brings the dungeon.
Something like that.
I could be wrong, but it really depends on what their shakeup is going to be, and that's what concerns me about the future, because I want to be able to do stuff that's
fun.
That's why I'm going to be the odd one out here. That's why I liked Gambit so much, because it was different enemies each time.
I like Gambit.
And then you did?
More
and then
Gambit was good at first.
Yeah, more
than the
PvP,
invasions.
PvE needs to that. The part with Gambit is the only reason why it sucked is because they stopped working on it. They stopped making.
They stopped fixing it. They made it Gambit Prime .2.
Imagine
which is weird.
Imagine if they upgraded Gambit by putting you into a strike or a battleground and then throwing Guardians in there. That would be the upgrade that Gambit needed.
I do like the sound of that.
Make Gambit missions instead of just PvP matches.
So you're saying
because
between
right now it's
each
a sport, right? It's like a sport game, you know. Two teams have to kill as many enemies as possible to fill up their bank of motes, and whoever gets the most motes wins. But make it like a narrative, story-driven thing, like, you know. I think that would make it a lot more interesting, and it would have made.
I'm kind of getting a vibe of two teams of 3 enter a strike, and then they complete the same strike, and then when they get to the boss room, it's not a boss, it's a 3v3, and then it turns into elimination.
Fuck it, it's a 3v3 with a boss.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See that?
Whoever kills
a dungeon.
Whoever kills the boss wins, and then you have to sabotage the other team by killing the other team so that they can't get the kill.
Josh, remember Pantheon? If Pantheon was a permanent thing, I would love that.
Explain Pantheon for anyone who hasn't played recently.
Okay, so that's a very good point. Thank you, Mac. So Pantheon was released during Into the Light, which was the 2 months before the Final Shape drop, because Bungie wanted to give us something to kind of just soak our teeth into, to give us, time to wait. So Into the Light was a 2-month thing, but
Well, what is
at the-
Pantheon? I know what Into the Light.
no, I'm
is.
getting it.
What
I'm
is
getting it. I'm
Pantheon?
getting there. I'm getting there. At the 1 month mark, after 1 month of Into the Light, Pantheon dropped. Or was no? I think it was available. That's okay. I can't remember because it's been 6 months now. But Pantheon was a raid boss gauntlet.
It's a raid
You-
gauntlet, yeah.
So the first week 1 was 4 bosses. It was Atrex. No, so no. It started with Golgoroth, and then
Well, it doesn't really matter who it was, but I get it now.
Yeah.
It's a raid boss gauntlet.
Yeah, so 4 bosses, and then at the final boss of that week gave you an emblem, and then week 2 it was those same 4 bosses plus an additional boss. Week 3 was those same 5 bosses with an additional boss at the end. But every time a new boss got added, that week got harder in difficulty. So we went from +5. So the Guardians were 5 light stronger.
No, it was 0. It was neutral.
Oh, it was 0. Okay, so the first week was 0. You were capped at power level. If you were above the light, you were fine.
Sorry to cut you off, Ian, just so we can keep on track here. This was just needed to know what Pantheon was so you could explain your idea. Because you said that it was
Pantheon was
gonna
a
be
raid. It was a raid gauntlet. It was a series of bosses that got harder with each week, and you could select the hardest one or the easiest one.
Yeah.
And your rewards corresponded with which difficulty you did. If you did the hardest one, you got double drops. You got adepts and double drops. But because that was at contest power level, that was a good challenge, but it also drove us insane.
Yeah. Because at the final one, you were facing 9 bosses.
Yes.
Yeah, you're facing 9 bosses.
So your
And
point is that you want another Pantheon?
Give me either the same Pantheon from Into the Light, or give me Pantheon rotations where you put different bosses.
So is it still not around? They got rid of
It
Pantheon?
it was only available for Into the Light, and it was gone.
What
So,
fucking
not necessarily.
dumbasses.
It is gone, but I'm pretty sure it is coming back. I think that's one of the additional features that they said is supposed to be coming back in the next season.
Okay.
Or not the next season, because the next season is the 3rd installment of this current act or chapter or whatever the hell it is, this 3rd episode. Not this episode or the next episode, but the actual next season releasing next year. So like the next expansion drop, I believe.
So yes, this
It's supposed to come back, and I think they also talked about a dungeon gauntlet. So Pantheon, but for dungeons as well. But I don't know if that was confirmed yet, or if it was just tossed up in the air in one of like the Vidocs or something.
Okay.
But essentially the same concept, except you're facing all of the dungeon bosses. So
Alrighty. So just so that we can move along, because we're almost done here. My hopes for the future, I have none. Not for Destiny 2 and not for Destiny Rising. I just, like I said, I'm done with it. So I'm not even going to play it, so I have no hopes for it, really. So with that, we'll just move on to our last final topic so we can cap off the podcast, or this cap off this episode. So I haven't told you guys what I was going to ask you, but kind of hinted at it earlier. Do we want Destiny 3, or do we want a brand new game in the same universe, same timeline, but just separated? Like,
I'll answer this one first because Josh answered the last one first. Destiny 3 would give us the new engine that he wants, because I understand.
no.
Keep hitting my...
Don't give me both. Which one do you want? Do you want Destiny 3 or
this
do you want
explains
a brand new
this
game?
this explains my answer. Destiny 3 would give us a possibility at the new engine, much like what Josh wants, much with like, I'm not a big person about the engine, but I do have issues with the game and how some of the stuff works. Destiny 3 would give us maybe a shakeup, like a new camp, like it would probably turn into the same thing. We'd have a mediocre campaign at the first thing, and then we just come back full circle, new seasons. But new engine would most likely give us new opportunities for new things. So I would very much like a Destiny 3. But the problem with Destiny 3 is that all the emotes and all the cosmetics that people have bought would just go away with Destiny 2, and that's not what people would want.
Sucks.
as somebody that has spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that game, be gone. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You already took away
Fresh
my
start.
money when you started taking away campaigns
Yeah,
and
they've
DLCs.
already been doing it.
Do it again. Do it again with a new game.
They've been doing it since 2020, so it doesn't really matter at this point. It's honestly, it would be better that way because then they can, like,
As long as the characters.
why would they give us everything back when they could make stuff better? You know,
Yeah.
because there would be no point to giving us the same cosmetics, the same weapons, the same vault, carrying everything over if they're gonna let us play as a brand new species. Like, what if they let us play as Fallen? Your fucking armor set's not gonna do any good on a fucking Fallen, you know.
Yep.
And that's why I think Destiny 3 is also my choice instead of just like a spin-off game or something. It's because I want them to go more MMO with it, expand it, give us player homes, let us fly spaceships in missions, and do more things in space. Give us more subclasses and classes in general. Like, for example, imagine, like, besides Awoken, Exo, and Human, being able to be an Elixni, being able to be a Hive, or something like that, you know? Expand the story, give us more world building. You know, the most exciting part about Witch Queen to me was the fact that the Hive were Guardians, and that just meant Fallen could be Guardians. Anybody could be Guardians now. And Cabal Guardians. Like, the possibilities are endless, and I think it's awesome.
You know, you mentioned the MMO aspect. There was a time in the prelude to Destiny during like pre-release developer insights. The reason why I chose Exo as my Titan is because I thought it was going to be more MMO like, where as a Exo, a robot, you have more sprint time or no delay between sprints. Your melees would have probably been better. You would have taken more damage or something.
Yeah,
like
race rates.
That could be something that could be in a Destiny 3, and that's why I think we need that.
Yeah, like Warlocks would be better. Like, Warlocks having boosts, Awokens being better Warlocks, Humans being better Hunters, and Exos being better Titans. Like,
So,
imagine the synergy of that. Like that goes so well, like, into like the customization of your characters.
I've always thought of it the opposite way with Hunters and Titans, because Hunters are scavengers, right? Whereas an Exo, you're constantly falling apart or having to replace parts or something like that on yourself. So you go out to the world to find things and scavenge for yourself. So you stick to yourself because you ain't got to worry about nobody else. Humans tend to stick in groups, whereas I'm an Exo, I'm a robot. I'm going to go hunt for myself, find the parts that I need to fix myself. And if I need a group, I'm getting what I need and getting the fuck out. Whereas
Agreed.
Hunters, I feel like a group of Titans just makes more sense because Unga Bunga fucking smash shit, and that's kind of what humans like to do anyway. So I've always been same book. Awokens, 100% Warlocks. Titans, I've always made my Titans as humans because I just felt like it just made more sense to me. And then Exos, I've always made my Hunters because same thing. I just thought Exo Hunter made more sense because if I'm gonna go scavenge for something, I'm scavenging for parts for myself to make sure that I'm maintaining my body. You know what I mean?
I can see that. I mainly thought Titans or Exos
just because of the strength.
Exos would be better Titans because of the strength and
yeah. See, I didn't class it like that
durability.
because when you're an almost godlike human who is given these powers, I was just like, well, the powers are going to come with the strength that I have. So, like, obviously, even if I'm a human, I'm going to be stronger than your average human. I'm going to be more endurance than your average human. So I was just like, humans and Titans just make sense to me.
I have just a cool image of being a fucking, I don't know, like a saint, you know, headbutt, but having like the fucking exo horn right on the front, just headbutting an enemy with the exo horn.
Pulling a Cade when Cade was fighting the fucking Scorn. Yep.
See, just give us race traits and then disable all of that for Crucible. Make Crucible equal
a different
play.
game. Crucible
just make it an even playing field.
Make Crucible a first-person shooter game, its own separate PvP competitive game, like a hero, or an arena shooter with like maybe loadouts or pickups on the map, just like Halo used to be, something like that. But Destiny 3 needs to go all in on the PvE. And if it's going to be if there's going to be PvP in it, they have to account for third person, I think.
Which is what I think needs the separate game modes. Like you play these ones in first person, you play these ones in third person type deal. They could be the same thing, like TDM and TDM or control and control, but you just pick the category that you're going into.
That
Just
could
makes
work
more
too, yeah.
sense.
I was just thinking like a classic toggle, like how Elder Scrolls Online does it. Or you can just toggle between first person and third person, and their PvP
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're first or third person because it's not a shooter or anything, and just the way the game is made, they're like open faction battles and stuff. So they're like
Yeah.
sieges and stuff. Which is another thing
think-
you could do with Destiny is you can have bigger, more open battles that way if you try to go the MMO route.
Yeah.
Have like large scale player raids on other players. Have factions actually have Destiny factions.
Factions again, real
Yeah.
faction wars.
Give
Who
us
remembers
Rogue
the 12-man
Guardians.
raid bug?
But as far as having a Destiny 3 or a new game, I'm going to be honest with you, Mac. Everything that you described, in my opinion, would be better as a whole new game instead of a Destiny 3 because it gives them the creative freedom, I feel, a little bit more to add all of those things, to add more characters to play as, like the Elixir or the Hive or the Fallen, because they can pick different time frames or an alternate set of universes where maybe the Fallen did actually get blessed by the Traveler like they were supposed to. Maybe the Hive, when they first came across the Traveler, did take the Traveler's light instead of falling victim to the deep. Maybe Cabal got blessed during the timeline that we're playing in. So like maybe we got blessed for the light before them, and then the Traveler moved on from us and went to the Cabal next, and there's some other bigger, greater threat. I feel like, in my opinion, after we've already faced the Witness, I know that there's other like the Gardener and the Winnower. I know there's other disciples, essentially, like how the Witness is, because the Witness had his disciples, and then the Witness is also a disciple of the Winnower.
The
So
actual
it's like,
darkness, yeah.
yeah, the actual darkness. So I mean, I guess there are more disciples of, the Winnower, but it's the same kind of story, different type of character. Whereas you can go an entirely different story route with a different kind of universal ending big bad.
Yeah,
So
we're
personally, I think I would go a whole new game, counter story, like everything new. Scrap it all.
so we're an hour and 36 minutes in, but spoiler alert, everybody. So in Final Shape, does it could actually confirm the Witness isn't the darkness? Like the darkness
Yes.
is still an imminent threat. It's its own thing.
So it's the Witness is talking to you. So in the Final Shape raid, as you're traversing through certain levels, the Witness is essentially talking to you and uses its paraphrasing and its fucking poem. It's trying to recite a poem to you, but the Witness is essentially saying that it is not the big evil, but it is the knife that it uses to carve. So essentially saying that I am the weapon that the actual evil is using to do its bidding.
Okay.
But I have a mind of my own, and with the power I've been giving, I'm carving for myself, is essentially what the Witness was saying.
Oh,
Where it's like,
I'm not like other disciples.
I'm not like
of the
other
darkness.
rappers. I do it myself.
You still with us, Ian?
Yeah,
He's just
Well, I am playing Candy Crush, but
Oh,
I am
freak.
God, Candy Crush while podcasting.
mobile gamer.
You gotta be in the-
point at him, shun him.
listeners
just
can't. The listeners can't tell, but all the viewers can tell. Ian.
But I'm also taking this.
Mobile
I'm taking it
gamer.
all in because I'm forming my own opinions. Because
Can
you guys
your
are saying some.
ADHD ass really take it all in while playing a game at the same time?
Well, yes,
No.
because imagine if we had a
I
Destiny
couldn't.
game. But imagine if we had a Destiny game, or at least something could be done with, I don't know, Destiny 3, where 12 players, like in Excision in Destiny 2, fight the biggest, baddest person. What we did with the ending campaign mission of the Final Shape should be the ending campaign mission of every campaign from now on. We should have a big bad guy, and if we defeat that person, to then that person being the final boss of a raid, make a 12-player game mode each time. That bar has been set, and that would be something to help shake up something in the game each time. And it's replayable too.
Rebuttal. I don't
Rebuttal.
want that. I don't want that.
It sounds too
Make one
copy paste.
Yeah, and not just that, but as someone who already struggles doing raids as it is because getting 6 people together is hard.
But Excision is match made.
Okay, then it's nothing like then it's just like what Josh is saying. It's just kind of it loses its like
But
Its
it
value.
the
Brandon.
more they do it, the less special it becomes. It
Okay,
just
well then
becomes
maybe
like
not every
everything
time.
else.
Maybe not every time, but don't do it just that one time now. Like if
No,
we,
I
if,
Make it
would
make it
fully
another
want
dungeon.
more, but not every single expansion or every single season having a whole new 12-player activity. Oh, we're fighting this big bad in the final mission. Oh, he runs away. Now fight him in the raid, and then we have to go fight him in this 12-man activity. I don't think every single final big bad boss fight should be a 3-step activity. Sometimes it should just be as plain and simple like it was with Callus and fucking Lightfall, even though I hated how his end was. That was pointless. That should have been a raid. Um, you just go in, you kill the guy, you move on to the next big bad.
Yeah, and can we end the
well,
stigma of raids that are slightly different or shorter than other raids being bad? I like short
Yeah.
raids. I like
I
raids,
loved Eater of Worlds.
bro. Like I don't know about those ones, but
we
like
do need entry level raids. Honestly, it's like not
not
every
entry
raid.
level raids, just raids that more casual players can just rip through, and it's mindless. More mindless raids. Because here's the thing: what makes Destiny raids special and better than like World of Warcraft, which is the only other game that does raids, is the fact that it's complicated enough to need practice to get good at, and you can feel accomplished for it, but not too hard to the point where it's not fun anymore. Because think about it, as fun as it is to figure out the raid mechanics on your own and stuff, it gets to the point where everybody says, fuck that, I'm looking up the guide and we're doing this the most optimal way. How many
Yes.
times do you guys remember we would fucking unplug our Xbox to fucking get Crota to stay knelt on the ground because none of us wanted to actually do the mechanics? So they either need to make the mechanics good enough for everybody to actually want to do and not get bored or stressed out doing. Because that's the thing, is like only the hardcore players are going to love really in-depth, intricate mechanics like some of the newer raids have. Like I think I didn't play it myself, but what's the raid with Nezarek? That was a bit more complicated than previous.
That
raids,
was
Nightmares.
Root of Nightmares.
right? Would you like you guys played it, right? So would you say that
Yes.
was more complicated than previous raids?
I would say, honestly, it was kind of on par like the first experience doing Vault of Glass in Destiny 1. Whereas I feel like other raids that are very complicated, the newest one, Final Shapes raid, that one's complicated as fuck to
I
learn.
still haven't even beaten it.
I beat it the one time and that's it. I
Yeah.
have not gone back to do it again. And Deepstone Crypt, which wasn't exactly the most
Oh,
complicated.
Deepstone
it was
was
just really
awesome.
annoying.
Uh,
Oh,
I just thought
love
the
Deepstone.
mechanics. I love the raid, but the mechanics were sometimes just really annoying,
I know what you mean.
especially because like even today people still don't care to learn how to use the different things like scanner, operator, suppressor.
True.
So it's like I was always a person having to juggle in different encounters what I'm doing because the other people don't know what the fuck to do. And I'm like, this raid has been out for almost 4 years, actually probably more than that now. It's like, how do you still not know how to do this?
Deepstone was actually the last raid I actually played and was actually good at and remembered how to do it. And even then, I remember being super confused by the operator scanner thing. The only thing that saved that raid from being bad, I think, is how short it was. Once you got the mechanics figured out and you knew what you're doing,
It was easy.
it was short. You could get it done in an hour, and
Yep.
that's what I liked about Deepstone. It's like we need more. Like, don't make it what is this word? Easy to learn but hard to master.
Mm-hmm.
Make it that. Make it easy for everybody to actually complete it, but once you master it, you can get it done super fast. Because that's what people like about Warframe, and that's what people like about old school Destiny, is when you were able to get a fucking raid done faster than anybody else. When you could just clear it immediately, get 6 clears done in a night, and feel good about it, that is when Destiny was peak.
Yep. I will add to that as well because when Wrath of Machine came out and that first week dropped and everybody was trying to grind it, I had a designated team, and every single week we would run the what was it? I think we would run King's Fall and fucking I just said the raid.
Wrath.
Wrath of Machine. We would run it on all 3 of our characters every single week. So we were running 6 different clears every single week, and we do it in a couple hours tops. Like I'd get home from school, and the first thing that we do on Tuesday, jump in, clear all the raids that we wanted to do for the week, and then not touch Destiny for the rest of the week. And it was that easy because we had mastered the raid.
That's honestly how I feel about Reprise King's Fall and Vow of the Disciple. Vow is kind of a complicated raid for some people just because of the symbols, but once you think of goofy names for them, you remember them. Like it's easy because I have dual monitors. Oh, God, I keep hitting my mic. I have dual monitors set up so I can put the symbols on left side and then game on the right side. So it's like it's not that bad. But then also in Pantheon, I finally learned how to do the symbol running. So now I understand how to do that aspect. I usually, Josh, you and I were the gaze takers. So like those mechanics, I understand those to a T. And then with King's Fall, we did that. Like we can get a King's Fall reprise done in 30 minutes, and that's insanity to me.
I don't know about you guys, but King's Fall was the peak for raids for me.
That was the radius raid that had ever raided in Destiny.
I think it was hard. It was perfect enough for Destiny 1. I don't know how they changed it for Destiny 2 at all because I haven't played it at all for Destiny 2. I don't know what they changed. I don't know if they made it better.
It's pretty similar. I'd say it's better. Like the mechanics are more steady, in my opinion.
If they fixed, because I know there were some parts of the mechanics that were kind of weird, so if they fixed that, that'd be nice. But to me, that was the perfect blend of complicated but easy enough to do. You know, because like once you completed it, you felt good and you could do it more. Because I remember doing Golgoroth for the first couple of times, be like, what the fuck is happening? We stand in his goo, and then we shoot his stomach, and then we gotta run around and shoot his balls.
We gotta run from his balls?
Yeah. And like it was sick. Like I don't know, like because obviously everybody uses a guide for a raid, even if you're a console player and stuff. Like you're still gonna pull up a guide or something on your phone to help you out, even if you don't have a computer. So like I don't expect them to make raids easy enough for everybody to be able to figure out on their own without help, because obviously that just makes it not fun anymore and not a raid, because it just because then the mechanics are not complicated enough, you know.
Yeah.
It should be one of those things where when they're explained to you, you go, oh, but you can't just figure them out on your own by just trial and error unless everybody's all using their brain power all at once.
And that's why that's.
Which is why World's First is good.
And the counter argument, or not the counter argument, but the counterpoint to that is the newest raid, where I have a full grasp and understanding and I can do everything in the raid, but there's one part that I cannot do. It is the 4th encounter. I cannot do it without external means, meaning I have to use a shape calculator because it takes all of my brain power to do it without the calculator.
Too stressful.
And sometimes you don't have enough time, and it's time based too. If you don't do it in enough time, you wipe. So it's like the only way for me to do it, and the only way for most people to do it, is using that calculator, because it's like, oh, I killed this knight, and he dropped a square and a triangle, and the statue that I need to bank it at is holding circle, but I need to make a cylinder. What shape do I grab? You grab the square. But you're not grabbing the square because the shape that you're trying to make isn't the first one. You got to do 3 cycles of it. You need to make the last one. So it's like, okay, well, I need to get a fucking penumbra or whatever the hell. I need to make this circle or this sphere, because he's holding a sphere. And then you have to take the 2D dimensions that you pick up and make them 3D. So it's like, okay, well, I pick up this square, and then it turns into a cube with that sphere, makes a cylinder, and then I need to take another sphere to make it whatever else that shape's called, and then I need to not touch that one because that's good. And then I need to make this triangle a pyramid, which means that I need to get another square and then another triangle, and it's too confusing. It's too much.
Let me put it for you this way, Mac. The final shape raid, that encounter. So Josh and I one night got an LFG group together, and we did that raid. We got past first, second, up through the third. It took some trial and error, of course, because it was my first time. We got to Verity, the fourth encounter. We were there for at least 2 hours, if
Three and
not
a
a
half
little.
or four.
Yeah, at least, if not more. I got so discouraged and I got so just I checked out so bad that I texted him without telling the team. I said, Josh, I gotta go. I just can't. And he's like, no, dude, you got this. You're just stressed. And I'm like, Josh, I I can't, bro. And I made it look like I disconnected from the game and I just turned off the PC. Like
You
I
start
unfortunately had
talking-
to.
Yeah, you start talking in the mid sentence. You're just like, "Hey, so guys, by the way, I think I'm gonna."
I think
Nothing
that's what I
afterwards, just
did. I
double
You
I
were
can't
completely
remember.
silent. You were just
I-
completely silent, and then you just started walking in a straight line. That was it. That was the end of it.
It's that mechanic is unforgiving, and that's why I said before that there needs to be entry level raids. I'm not saying every raid needs to be, day one Root of Nightmares, because everyone says that is the easiest raid. And no, not every raid needs to be like that, but also every raid doesn't need to be like Last Wish or so. What's Final Shape's raid called, Josh? I forget.
I forget it as well. I just call it the Final Shape raid. I've done it
Wow.
once.
I literally forget the name of the raid.
How forgettable is that raid that you guys can't even
It's
remember it?
it's a good
So-
raid.
It's
But-
not forgettable. It's unforgiving.
It's so unforgiving that I have not cared to play it again after I beat it. I wanted the raid jacket as a memento, my memory of being able to do so. I completed the raid and I called it quits. And that's pretty much the last time that I actually played Destiny.
Damn.
I
That's
have
true.
bought the season pass and I have access to all of these seasons. I got to level 100 in the last season. Mind you, that's only halfway because it goes Act 1, 2, and 3 of Episode 1 was you go from 0 to 100 and then 100 to 150 and then 150 to 200. I didn't do the extra 100 fucking ranks.
Yeah, they
didn't care.
time gated the season pass.
Yeah, they time gated the
What?
season pass
Yeah.
based on So the last
What are they? Fortnite?
100. So
Mhm.
it was literally when the season dropped, Act 1, you could go all the way from 0 to 100. And then Act 2 unlocked 101 to 150. And then Act 3 unlocked 151 to 200.
All right.
So you had 49 fucking ranks locked in Act 2 and 3 that you couldn't get until you actually went and waited until they released.
I have a genuine question for you guys. I want you to answer honestly, and take a second to think about it if you need to. Don't just give me an answer right off the top of your head or for nostalgia's sake. Was the only thing good about Final Shape the story? Because
No.
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 Okay, wait. Maybe not the only thing good, but would you say everything else was pretty mid?
No.
Not bad, not the bad version of mid, just acceptable. Like not
No,
not extremely like without rose tinted goggles, without nostalgia. Like
No,
what
there's no
was Final
nostalgia.
Shape actually good, or was it just nostalgia carrying it?
So it was actually good because a character. No, so this is you cannot answer this without nostalgia. They brought back Cade, which was a fan favorite character, but they gave a very good reason in the story why he came back. It was in the campaign of why he came back. So it wasn't just a MacGuffin to get them to sell the game better. No, there was a canonical reason. But then his exit was commendable. It made sense. And
It
I
was,
was
a much better send off.
yes. There was a potential send off that was different, and I'm so glad they didn't go with the other ending. The ending that we got was so much better.
You guys can spoil it for me. I don't care. And
okay,
everybody
so-
else who's watching, it's already an hour and 53
Okay,
minutes in. If
so
they don't
it's
already
been
know,
six
then-
it's been 6 months. So the end of the Final Shape story after Excision, when you and the 12-player fire team destroy the Witness for good, your ghost kills himself. He sacrifices himself to use the light to kill the Witness. Cade becomes an entity of light and sacrifices himself for your ghost. It is a very good it's a very good send off. But the entire story leading up to it redeemed it. Like, it made sense. We had a section where we went through Zavala's conflict. We had a moment where we go through Ikora's conflict. And we had a little bit of Cade's conflict, but he didn't really have a conflict. He had more of a post-campaign story where it was handing off
Resolution.
handing off the mantle of Hunter Vanguard to Crow.
Yeah.
So
That's
Crow is
So-
the
That's all I wanted out of that, and I'm never going to see it because I'm not going to play Final Shape.
And
but
the
at least
reason
they have it.
the canonical reason why Cade's back, I don't know if you know that either, is because when when Crow made his wish to Riven, he wished for Cade to return because it was his mistake that Cade was dead. So he wished, even though Aldrin was the one that killed him, and then after his resurrection, he's still been blamed for everything. He wanted to try to make amends, and with that wish, he technically got it true. Because when he entered into the Pale Heart, into the Traveler, Cade was alive. He was the embodiment of light, though. So, like Ian said at the end, when your ghost uses the rest of its light, its life source, to kill off the witness, you're kind of just left, and he dies. He dies in your hands. Like, you literally catch him. And then Cade comes up and is like, listen, this is my choice, nobody else's. I decide how I go, and this is what I want to do for you. And he infuses his light back into your ghost to give it life again.
Now, two things on top of that. First, totally missed opportunity to make Cade our ghost. Just saying. Second thing,
Bro, that would have fixed
Yeah.
That'd be
every
cool.
issue I had with what you guys just told me. I'm gonna give you my opinion on what you guys just told me after what Ian says, but go ahead.
second point was, so my Titan is a big, beefy hunk of metal. I have some of the biggest armor you can get. There was a moment where my Titan, my character, like obviously it's all of our character, but my Titan hugs his ghost after being resurrected. And I'm kind of thinking, but it made me actually tear up. It actually made me feel something because I recorded my own little gameplay because I had just gotten this PC. I was going to record it for YouTube for my own nostalgia. Like, oh, a year from now, I'll watch my first playthrough of Excision. And in my recording, I said, watch Ghost dies. And I'm like, you hear me take a gasp, and then I mute my mic because I was like, what the I kind of didn't take it seriously because sometimes Destiny stories aren't that serious. They're enjoyable, but not serious. It got serious at that moment.
Like how Amanda Holiday died.
That was not serious
I'm
at
going to
all.
be honest.
I didn't care.
I didn't feel nothing.
Didn't care.
spoiled
Amanda
for me.
Holiday died.
I got that spoiled for me. I wasn't even playing that season, and I was like,
Yep.
I don't even care.
Yep.
Yeah,
same.
it was. This is the first time playing any of Destiny where I was actually just like, wow, holy shit. Like, that was sad.
So,
But the gameplay loop of Final Shape and the quality of life changes, the new enemies, like that's a thing that I kind of got off track. But to answer your question of how did I feel about Final Shape and was it worth it and not just rose tinted goggles or nostalgia, it gave me new enemies to fight, new mechanics to learn around those enemies.
The
Characters-
story felt really good.
Characters that I know and love, real stakes. Like at the end of the campaign missions, Mara rallies like, we have to go defeat the witness, and then it says like this cool like to be continued, the final battle against the witness, because at the time of that release there was 3 days till the raid released. So any strike you do from the Final Shape, it says 3 days till the final conflict, kind of like in Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, 3 days till, or 3 days, or dawn of the final day, or 3 days till the final day.
Yeah.
So like it felt like there were actual stakes for the first time ever, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to get through this. I got to get through this strike. I got to do these patrols. I got to get this Ergo Sum exotic sword that was used in Season of the Season of the Dawn. Like, or I got to do this. So it felt worth it.
Everything that you did, even outside of just the story, felt more meaningful for once.
Yeah.
Instead of just I'm blindly robot fucking day in, day out doing the same tasks every day. It felt like it was actually meaningful to what the story of Destiny was.
And now I'm just kind of sad that emotion isn't there anymore because we beat a big bad MacGuffin, and we have no inclination as to what the future is going to be. Yes, Bungie has plans for the next act or the season. I'm just gonna call them seasons. The next season after this one.
Ooh, Maya Sundaresh.
Yeah.
Ghost
Didn't care.
Weekly.
Didn't care.
Yep. Didn't give a shit.
I had
That
Destiny
would've been-
burnout. Didn't care.
Yeah, that would have been actually interesting, like a year ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. But like
right after fucking Beyond Light.
yeah.
When it
Like
was
we're gonna have
relevant.
to have
Yeah, when
a
it was
big new
relevant.
yeah. We're gonna have to have a big new MacGuffin to get me seriously interested again.
No, we don't
But
want
at the same time,
MacGuffins. No MacGuffin.
don't take
MacGuffin is-
10 years don't take 10 years to set up a bad guy or like Shadowkeep. Don't take 7 years to set up a bad guy.
Yep.
Do it in like 3/4 of that time.
Well, no, I don't.
But to be fair, we didn't know what this universe was 10 years ago. This was a totally brand new universe.
Well,
So
didn't
things
we-
take time to marinate.
Didn't we only find out who the witness was in Beyond Light?
We found Shadowkeep.
were-
Shadowkeep. There was a voice.
Shadowkeep was no.
Yeah.
I'm talking about witness reveal. Like
Witness
Smoky Head.
reveal was Lightfall.
Oh yeah, that was Lightfall. You didn't find out about that until Lightfall.
He didn't have a name or a
Oh,
face
right,
till
right.
Lightfall.
Yep.
Bad design. Bad design.
I mean,
Don't
You
take
set up a 10-year storyline and you cap it off with a villain we only know for 3 years.
so the witness was the one that was always supposed to be in the background of like all of the things that was happening.
It seems
Um,
shoehorned in is what I'm trying to get at. Like it wasn't planned.
I don't think
And
so.
and I
Like,
think
actually
and I think
playing
seems
it.
obvious, especially with what you guys told me about Lightfall, or not.
So Lightfall,
not Lightfall. Final Shape.
Final Shape.
Because as much as you guys may have liked the whole Ghost sacrificing himself, but like, if Cade was going to sacrifice himself anyway for Ghost, why not just have Cade sacrifice himself in the first place?
So
Instead of
it
Ghost
wasn't
doing it.
the way that Cade could have sacrificed himself. The Ghost essentially used fucking Iron Man's chest beam to use the rest of his power of the light to attack. Whereas when Guardians are using their light to attack, it's usually in the form of weapons, and our weapons weren't enough. So all of the ghosts of all 12 people did the simultaneous laser beam of death to the witness to pretty much finish the separation, because what we were realistically doing was infusing the light into this being who was a culmination of an entire species of people.
Yeah.
He used the darkness to fuse himself and all of the other individuals into one solidified being. And that being, throughout the story, we're kind of going through the different missions and we're doing certain activities to go and separate the people from, like, we learned certain statues are actually people that were solidified from that race. And
Excuse me.
we're able to communicate with them through our ghosts and, the echoes essentially of their pasts, and being able to communicate through them that way, or like learn about them that way. And then in the final mission, you actually go through and you start separating him by smashing the statues essentially in his throne world. Like you go into his world, into his body, and
essentially
you're
into the witness's
separating.
mind.
Yeah, you're going into the witness's mind and you're destroying these statues, which is killing those people, but it is separating those people from the witness's big solidified being.
Thus making
then-
him vulnerable.
Yeah, which makes him vulnerable. So in the final mission, the big 12-man mission, everybody goes into his mind again, and you finish killing off all of the statues, which leaves him completely vulnerable. And then your ghost does the final attack with his light. And that's what the sacrifice was. Whereas I don't really think until probably like one of the last couple missions in the campaign that Cade really knows what's going on, because when he came back, he had no idea. He didn't know that he was alive. He thought this was some weird fucking dream and he was dead or in purgatory or hell or something like that.
Okay.
Like he didn't know
There
what
was a
happening.
mission. There was a mission where Crow admitted that, hey,
Yes.
we were given a wish by Riven, but as I went through, I wish that you were here to guide me, and here you
Yes.
are. And
and that's
Cade's
why
Cade's like, what
there.
the hell, man?
So after that conclusion, and then you go into the 12-man mission, that's when Cade's just like, listen, I know why I'm here now, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my light because you still deserve it. You still have life left. And then he heals your ghost and revives him by just putting his light back in him. Because mind you, you're still in the Traveler, so this is still a possibility. If you were outside the Traveler, your ghosts is fucked because there is no light essence other than what other guardians and what other ghosts have.
Do we figure out more what the Traveler is? Like, is the Pale Heart actually what the inside of the Traveler looks like?
Yes.
Yes. So the Pale
Traveler
Heart
is just an alternate dimension.
The
no.
Traveler
So the Pale
is
Heart is images based on the people that enter it. So Victor, it's pretty much conceptualized images on their past or their memories.
Okay, so it's still what
that's
I
why
thought it was.
certain.
I thought it
Yeah,
was
so
like,
that's why certain parts are from like the raid, for example, is like part of the witness's past, like his civilization, his planet.
Gotcha.
Whereas where you're at, like with the tower and most of the Pale Heart and stuff being like an overgrowth of the city, was because of your own memories. So
Okay.
that's what the
it's
Traveler
essentially
is.
Valhalla. Things manifest based off
Yeah.
your experiences and your past. But since the witness had been there for
6 months.
a year or 18 months, he had built himself a huge spire.
Yeah.
Which I love that so much. The delay, they're like, the final shape is coming. It's been 6 months. Is it here?
Okay. So, I think that's where we're going to leave it off for the episode today, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. This was a bit longer than our last one, but that's okay. As long as we have stuff to talk about, we'll just keep talking. If you have any additional suggestions for any future videos or any advice for how we can make the show better, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to take you up on that. So again, I have been your host, Mac.
And I'm Josh.
Yeah, that's Josh.
And I have been and always will be Ian.
Yeah.
No, you won't. Lane.
So yeah, thanks for joining
I
us,
might
guys.
be Lane sometimes.
Please subscribe, give us a like, comment, share us around to your friends and stuff. We could
Hit that
always
notification
use-
bell.
Yeah, always use the exposure. So really appreciate it, and yeah, have a great day. Bye bye.